Hey, this is Anthony Davis with Shapeshift Wellness. I did finally get moved into my new space. I have all my things here. And in the process of moving, I noticed a few things about the correlation between the training that I do on a regular basis that I would consider functional training and how it prepared me to do a big move across the country, 800 miles away with all of my things that I've collected over the years and not get injured, not hurt myself. And so we're going to talk about what functional training is and why that has to relate to your daily activities in today's episode. This is Shapeshift Wellness, the channel that explores the science of fitness, yoga, and meditation. If you like that sort of thing, subscribe to my channel. Now let's learn a little bit about functional training right now. So as I was moving all of my things across the country, I noticed that the activities that I was doing to lift things, pull things, put things on shelves, take things off of shelves, pick things up off the ground, put them back down, walk downstairs, those kinds of things, whether that was me carrying an object alone or the way that I would have to alter the way I carried a thing based on how I was coordinating with another person, or if I was carrying a large object, for example, going up the stairs, was I at the top or the bottom? Because you're doing a totally different activity in a different circumstance. If you're at the top versus the bottom, moving a couch, for example, up or down the stairs. So as I train, I've noticed that lately I have been focusing a lot more on just classic strength training. So right over there, I've got a squat rack, and I've been doing a lot more barbell training than ever in my life. And so I really only started taking barbell training seriously about a year ago, around the time actually that COVID hit. And I have noticed that it really is a lot more functional than I think some people give it credit for. Now, I am one to really enjoy things like, for example, what Functional Patterns, that's a brand, by the way, if you don't know them, with Naudi Aguilar. I really love the things that they do. Their movement patterns, their exercise, very full body, very fun, very engaging from head to toe. And I think it translates very well to how human beings really move their bodies. However, I don't think that's the only thing that counts as functional training. I think that sometimes we get into this idea that functional training has to also look fancy, basically. That you have to be doing things with a contralateral gait pattern, and you have to be using your anterior and posterior oblique slings, otherwise it's not functional. You have to be swinging a mace bell over your head, or I don't know. Those things can be very functional for many people, but just doing a good old-fashioned bench press or a good old deadlift or a squat or all of these kinds of basic, squat, bench, deadlift, those activities are functional too. So here in the background, you are seeing this. Here's a picture of me. I noticed that, so I'm picking this table up, and my dad was helping me move, and so he was gonna, be on one end of this, and we were gonna help lift and pull it out of the back of the van. And because the van was kind of a low height, the only way that I felt that I could get some good leverage on it was basically just doing a barbell front squat and sitting way down deep into it to get that initial lift to pick it up as we kind of shimmied it out of the van. And then I changed into a different position, of course. But you'll notice that this is a very classic, this is the bottom of a snatch, right? You land there. This is, just a front, your front rack position. This is your basic squat, a front squat, right? So this is a direct translation of my training that you do with a barbell to an activity that I had to do, and I had to do over and over and over and over again. And if I didn't train on a regular basis with a barbell to do that, then when I tried to do this with a table and a couch and this and that and boxes and all these other heavy things, then I would have hurt myself. But I didn't. And that is a testament to the fact that my training is functional. Even though lately I have not had the equipment necessary, like for example, a cable machine to do a lot of the more functional training that I typically do, that is more inspired by the people over at Functional Patterns. So I love that stuff, but I haven't been able to do it lately. And even though I've been just doing classic strength training, it has turned out to translate very well to my real activities. Here I'm picking up this box right here, you can see. So here's this little box. Well, it's actually quite heavy. It's got a bunch of audio equipment in it. And look, the way that I had to pick it up was because the space is confined. I can't stand upright. I had to hinge, and it was underneath. It was previously underneath this table. And so I had to bend over, scoot it close to my body, and then get my elbows in tight, like I'm doing a bent over row, and then lift it and hover it, kind of like a good morning, bent over row, Romanian deadlift. All of these exercises that I do on a regular basis with a barbell are exactly what I'm doing right here in my actual activity. So is a deadlift functional? Is a bent over barbell row functional? Oh, somebody would make the argument that, well, really, all these barbell exercises are symmetrical on both sides. They're sagittal plane focused. Real life isn't that symmetrical. Real life isn't that perfect. Therefore, those exercises are not functional. Well, I think that that's nonsense, because it's true. Look, my form, if I were actually doing a barbell, you would be correcting my form like crazy, because I'm very asymmetrical right now. But that doesn't matter. The point is that I had a foundation of strength that, if I'm really strong in neutral and I'm just crazy strong in neutral, if I deviate a little bit, I'm not as strong as when I was in neutral, but I'm not fragile either. I'm just slightly less strong. And then if I'm over here, I'm even more slightly less strong. You know what I mean? And so I get diminishing returns. So if I train in a really strong pattern from that, your bench, squat, deadlift kind of lifts, if I train that, then as I deviate a little here, a little there, because I'm doing real life activities, yeah, I get diminishing returns, but I have such a strong foundation that it doesn't matter, and I still don't end up hurting myself after an entire, 2 weeks worth of moving. So these are just two examples. There were countless other examples where you're doing like, a one-armed row, or you're, doing an overhead press, or your classic lifts really do directly translate. But I want to just comment that functional training can be any number of things, and that functional training at the end of the day needs to be person-specific, goal-specific. You need to know your goals. What are you trying to train for, right? If you are a rock climber and you need to climb rocks, then pull-ups. Well, obviously that's functional. But even a lat pull-down with a machine, right? We wouldn't usually think of using a machine as a functional training exercise. But if you're a rock climber, doing lat pull-downs is totally a functional activity. So you got to think about, what do you do on a daily basis? What do you need? And then there are some things that all human beings need, right? To be able to squat, to be able to sit down and stand back up, to be able to pick things up off the ground. So there's lots of ways to do that. There are fancier ways to do that and less fancy ways to do that. But really that just comes down to programming and knowing how to choose an activity that is appropriate for you and your goals and your level of expertise and your level of fitness on any given day. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, subscribe to my channel. Sorry for the mess, I just got moved. Looking forward to producing a lot of really amazing content in this space. Again, comment below if you have a suggestion for future videos, because you've got a lot of things coming at you here in the next few months from me. Take care.